Matthias, we're all set down here. We will start in 1 minute. Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
And Houston, this is Station. I'm ready for the event.
European Space Agency, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Carmen Dina with ESA. How do you hear me?
Hallo Carmen, ich höre dich laut und deutlich.
Hello, Carmen. I hear you loud and clear. Hi, Matthias. Thanks for taking the time today to speak with children from Children's Heart Foundation. You're speaking from, you're going to speak with Josef Aschbacher, Anke Kaiser-Pisala, and Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Hello, Matthias. So nice to see you, that you arrived safely and that you're enjoying your work up there. We spoke 3 weeks ago, and you said you felt like a young bird learning to fly when you first arrived, and you had to get accustomed to zero gravity. And I imagine that you are now a fully grown bird who can fly. And it's very important to us that you do well up there, not just for your safety, but that your experiments about the human body and to optimize treatment of diseases, especially for children with heart disease. And so it's so important to us that you've become ambassador for this Foundation for Children's Hearts. And that you today will speak with Frank-Walter Steinmeier, the FederaL president. And then later on, you'll get some questions from children. But first, I want to ask Anke Kaiser-Pisala. I want to give her an opportunity to ask you some questions. Hello. I'm so happy to see you, Herr Maurer, that you're taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to us about your experiments. And I'm so happy about that. And I'm so excited to speak to somebody who is in space. And I can't wait to hear the questions that the children will ask of you. Of course, we have a lot of experiments that can be carried out in space, and that we get to focus on something other than the pandemic for a change. And so we can learn a little bit about what this Mr. Maurer is doing in space. And he can tell us a little bit about that. And so we can start with the questions. So I pass you then to our FederaL president. And I am so happy to speak to Matthias Maurer. The first time we met was in Bremen, and the second time here at a Citizens Festival. And we had an in-flight call with Alexander Gerst that I recall very well. And I recall how you were looking forward to start going to the ISS. And on November 11th, you made the long journey up to the ISS. And we're so grateful that, at least as far as I can tell, that it all happened without any glitches. And by now, you have become accustomed to microgravity. But after arriving, I'm sure you've concentrated on your work, hundreds of experiments that you have to carry out that I read about, some of which that we were mentioning, the health and the human body. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with sick children in particular, particularly children with heart issues. And I know that you're not just interested in the topic, but that you're also ambassador for this foundation, and that you will be instrumental in getting the word out about this foundation. International, Russia, Japan, Europe, we all participate in this. And in this conflict-laden time that we live in, we have such a need for cooperation that at least in terms of space travel, we need to be cooperating. And as I just mentioned, I do have one question, though. Which part of the Earth are you crossing over right now? And what was what was the feeling when you arrived? 400 kilometers above Earth and looking down. I think it's a little bit different in reality than how you imagined it. Yes, thank you very much, FederaL President and Frau Kaiser-Pisala and children. And I'm so happy that you all took the time to talk to me, because really my only task today was housekeeping, cleaning the station here. So I've been here a month, and indeed, I don't really feel like a very young bird anymore, and I'm no longer bumping into things as much as I did. So from morning till night, we do a lot of experiments, and you can see all this equipment around me. We have medical experiments, scientific experiments for humanity. And Frau Kaiser-Pisala, I'm so happy to be speaking to you. If I had known this was your first call from space, I would have called you before. And maybe I can call you in Oberpfaffenhofen. The first moment up here was 4 weeks ago. I floated in here. And the thing that I'd been dreaming about was floating up to the cupola and open the hatches and be able to look down at our Earth. And I have to say, I still get goosebumps when I think about that moment. It's very, very hard to describe. It's so emotional that words fail me. All the photos I'd seen before it's only really 5% of the real feeling. You don't really look down so much. You look up, because up is down and down is up. And so everything up here is reversed. So when I'm floating in the cupola, I'm looking up at Earth, and it looks, I see sky. I feel as though I'm floating on Earth, but then I'm looking up at it. But then I realize the Earth is blue, and the sky, the cosmos, is black. And that's why I think our work up here is is so inspirational. It's so important. And I'm so happy that we've been cooperating on this for 20 years with the Russians. And right now we have Japanese guests up here. And, of course, the Americans are involved in this, too. I think now the time has come for the children to ask some questions. Is that right? Yes, yes, exactly. I can't wait for the children's questions. Okay, you can start. Okay, I'm Clara. Clara from Munich. Hannah from Osnabrück wants to know how what the ISS is made of and how it was built. It consists of different modules. It's like a bunch of RVs that are of titanium and aluminum, and they're all sort of patched together. And we have air in here, and we can work inside here, just like on Earth, only that we're weightless up here. And outside is vacuum. And they were the modules. The American modules were brought up by the shuttle, and the Russians brought it by themselves. And really, only the ISS completed with the last Russian module 2 weeks right after I arrived here myself. I think it's Alessandro's turn. Hello, I'm Alessandro from Munich, and Gabriel from Bad Sobernheim wants to know, do you relax any time at all? And if so, how? Or do you just work on your experiments nonstop? So from Monday through Friday, we have to work from morning till night. That's why we're here, after all, and that's what we trained for. So we have to maximize our time here. Saturdays, we have half a day of cleaning and to make sure that we can live here healthily and then on Sunday, I have some free time. Of course, I have to do exercise as well, because otherwise you lose muscle mass up here, and you don't want that. So we have to do exercise, weight lifting for 2.5 hours a day, and I do that while listening to music, and that relaxes me. And then I float in my module. And I feel a little bit like a butterfly floating around in my module, and it gives me a feeling of freedom. And then when I look at the cupola and I see our beautiful blue planet, I'm just completely content. Thank you, Clara and Alessandro. Now we're going to Matthias's hometown of Neufelden. I want to know if your research will help children with heart disease or with fighting bacterial infections. Yes, really it is. It's an excellent question. We do experiments having to do with experiments with medicine, and we cultivate cardiac cells, and we watch them grow here in microgravity, and we see them grow in 3D, and see them develop here. We've even had beating cardiac muscle cells, but it's only very elementary right now, but it's we're working on perhaps giving sick children an extra heart chamber with the cells that we've grown. And then we have other scientific experiments for older patients with heart attacks or there's a metal that we've developed that will help older patients keeping their heart vessels, cardiac vessels open, and we're optimistic. And then I have a really terrific experiment here that I can show you because it's so nice and small, touching surface. It's from the DLR. And this is, we're trying to develop antimicrobial surfaces. It's my alma mater, the University of Saarbrücken, and we treat the surfaces with laser and to be able to kill microbes. And of course, in a time like this with the pandemic, this is crucial, but during surgery that we have new and intelligent materials to enable us to help sick people. Hello, I'm Klaus from, and Oscar Jakob wants to know if everything tastes and smells the same up there as it does on Earth. Do you think you could repeat the question? You want to know if everything tastes the same as it does on Earth? Okay, again. Does everything taste and smell the same as on Earth? Got it. Food up here is packaged. It has to last for 3 years. And so, of course, it's not as fresh as when Mom puts it on the table at home. And the other thing is, when you see the hot soup steaming when you're at home, and you smell it a lot better. And when the hot air, the convection of the hot air rising makes our noses smell. So hot air is lighter than cold air, and so we're not able to perceive smell the way we do on Earth. Yeah, perhaps. And so you might see that when you look at me. You see my face is a little bit swollen because my face is puffy from my voice sounds a bit nasal, and that's because all the fluids are floating to the top. And maybe sometimes it's a good thing that you don't smell so well because we're not able to shower the same as we are on Earth. And the thing about taste, because I can't smell so well, we also don't taste as well. So we have very chili sauce, wasabi, or strong mustard, because we have to help the food along a little bit so that we can taste it more. Thank you very much. Okay, so of course, Ms. Power from the Foundation for Children's Hearts wants to say a word to you. Of course, we're so happy to have you as our ambassador in the ISS, and we just heard from the children how much hope they have invested in you. And there's so many cardiac congenital defects and so the experiments you can do up there show such promise. And so, of course, yeah, and we have a problem with thrombosis and bacteria with surgery, and that's why this antimicrobial stuff you're working with is so important in the treatment of children with heart defects. Yes, thank you, Frau Paul. Thank you. Of course, it was a natural thing for me and a great honor to accept this position. At the materials science and health sciences are, of course, very important to help people on Earth, and also to help between the different faculties in science. we can achieve a lot more by combining the science. And you can see my logo, my patch, and what's above me here. That contains the human heartbeat. Yeah, it's something that's close to my heart, quite literally. And of course, I'm happy to show you how a little sign of this little world traveler. There you see the flag from the foundation behind me, that after my mission is finished, that we will be able to make children, the little patients, hopeful, and that we can applied sciences and material sciences and health sciences, by combining those, that we'll be able to achieve something for children. We have about 3 minutes left, and Matthias, I've just learned that the federal president has one more question for you. Oh, dear Matthias, you said that the most beautiful spot is the cupola, where you can look at the Earth. But I can imagine that if you orbit the Earth every 90 minutes, you see things that aren't just beautiful, but you see the fragility and the consequences of climate change. We're talking about climate change. We talked with the children a little bit about the pandemic. What all of this shows us is the fact that we need to depend on the innovation of scientists and technology. What requirements do you see with respect to microgravity as it relates to what you can do in a lab here on Earth? Of course, here we are weightless, and that means that we can do examine things. We can examine things here without being hampered by gravity. As I mentioned, warm air rises, and that's, for example, if we were to light a candle, it would burn completely differently up here. So at this time before Christmas, because the cold air is rising to the top, and up here, flames are completely different up here. So we do some experiments with burning. So we want to be able to use the resources that we have up here. And when I look out to Earth here, I can see the changes that have taken place on Earth. I see the fires in the rainforest, or where the deforestation is taking place. And I look at, I see things that on old maps still exist, but actually I can see from up here that they are on the way to not existing anymore. And that climate change is really active. And so, of course, all our ESA satellites are able to focus on all this applied research. Okay, I have no window in my module. That's something I do. Looking out is something I do in my free time to enjoy it. But this cooperation we have up here and the focus on science and research and progress, it's so critical for the young children, for the future, and that's why it's this 20-year work that we're continuing up here in international cooperation is so important. And we will go to the moon again, and we need to We need to be able to extract resources from the moon since we can't take everything there. And we need to be able to use our resources more efficient. We can't throw away trash. We need to be able to reutilize trash so that we use the materials and resources more efficiently without damaging our planet. That we need to reach neutrality, not just CO2, but in general. We only have a few more seconds. Thank you, Matthias, for your answers. We didn't have time for all of the questions, but we thank you for the time that you've dedicated to us today. Thank you. Many thanks to all of you that you've taken the time to speak with me, and it's a great honor, and of course, something that's very close to my heart. And I'm sure you'll be able to see them on social media as well.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event.
Thank you. Thank you to all the participants from ESA. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.